Okay. So what would you say would be some things, some ways to respond to the America's apathy towards New Orleans and the misinformation that's perpetuated?
I would respond to the general American populace's apathy about New Orleans by simply saying that it seems an overriding theme is that they think that the city is bound to flood again and is therefore unsalvageable, therefore there's no need to live here, and certainly no need to rebuild the city. I would respond to that by simply saying that New York's a coastal city. There's plenty of coastal cities. Most cities spring up around water. This city does happen to be in a bowl, yes, but we can improve the levee system. This does not have to be a city that will inevitably be inundated with water. That's not a necessary part of the city's fate. You can have a sustainable New Orleans. There are people that live here. This is not simply a place that's up to the government to decide to move these people. This is somebody's home. Just as New York is somebody's home. If New York were to flood, people would care. I don't understand why New Orleans was viewed as a lost cause.
Now, other people say it's great to rebuild the city, but we should rely solely on a grassroots organization such as Common Ground to do so, and not involve the government. What would you say your response to that be?
The government has more power to do the kind of work that we want to do than we do. The government has more power to do anything than we do, to be honest. So if the government wants to rebuild, then let the government rebuild. If the government won't, then the grassroots organizations simply have to.
And do you see any type of concurrent action happening, which is grassroots acting while at the same time kind of shaking the branches of the government?
Yes. Prior to Common Ground coming into the Lower Ninth Ward, the Lower Ninth Ward was closed. No one was allowed to come back. No one was allowed here to gut. No one was allowed here to rebuild. Brandon Darby squatted the Blue House and began gutting homes with about 4 or 5 other volunteers, which essentially opened up the Ninth Ward to the relief effort. In addition to that, prior to the Make It Right Foundation's installation of this pink art exhibit, there was no gas lines, the street signs were still not being hung, and the telephone companies were saying they were not going to restore service to this area until 2 or 3 years. Following the installation of this project, the Pink Project with Brad Pitt, you see people in trucks, government officials, government employees driving in trucks, taking down the street signs Common Ground is hung, and putting up new street signs. You see that they're putting gas lines. AT&T is saying that it will restore service to this area within the next year. So the grassroots organizing down here has shaped government policy regarding the rebuilding of this community.
So in essence, regardless of the myriad of thoughts on, projects like the Pink Project, there has to be some acknowledgement of successes made, and that also would include maybe criticisms of local grassroots organizations for not being as efficient and effective as possible.
So I don't know if I understand exactly what you're asking.
Well, essentially, there are criticisms of Brad Pitt's project. There's criticism of any grassroots thing, saying it's not as efficient and effective as possible, and yet there are still strides being made by those organizations. How would you respond to some of the criticisms, either with Brad Pitt's or Common Ground?
It depends, depending upon what the criticism is. But if the criticism is regarding efficiency, it's simply my belief is that efficiency is not the most important thing in dealing with people. The most efficient things in the world are computers and robots, but they're not that fun to deal with. People are people, and efficiency, absolute efficiency, bleeds the life out of us and robs us of our creativity and our ability to deal with problems on our own simply by following a formula. What you see in Common Ground is maybe not the most efficient organization, but definitely one of the most human organizations.
Great answer.